Okay, so at this stage you have conducted a phone call that went well, and the person is open to having a conversation with me, the recruiter. And what you're going to be doing is documenting their information in a way that makes it readily accessible to me and sending out the meeting invites, which is fairly straightforward, though we're going to include some information in the invite that introduces them to me and hopefully helps kind of facilitate and smooths the process. So this should be familiar. What we're going to be doing is in essence is transferring this information over into this file, O1 Associate Tracking. And that is going to be in this, our shared folder here, True North Candidate Jobs Research. So you'll see all the files there. So very quickly, what you're going to be doing here, it's important that you don't just highlight the cell and then copy, because if you do that and you paste it here, you can see that when there's 2 lines of information here, it actually takes up 2 lines of information in here, which that's less than ideal, because in essence we're going to want 1 record per line. So when you're copying this, double click on each cell, highlight, then copy, and then you can come over here and put it into each relative cell, and you see that that only takes up 1 line. So real quickly, what we're going to be doing is taking this information. So that's the firm. You're not going to be worried about in process. That's for me. The potential associate, that is going to be Jeffrey. Copy him. Arnold. Okay. The city. Atlanta, Georgia. His years, well, actually, let's just transfer everything over first, because years you're going to have to do a little bit of research. And his email, of course, if they give you a personal email, use that. But if not, then just go ahead and use their work email. As far as the years are concerned, that is not in this data, unfortunately. So we're just going to do a quick search. R-E-Y R-N-O-L-D A-K-N-I-G-H-T. So just first name, last name, and the law firm. You can see right here. Oh, huh. It's Jeff Connell. This is interesting. It looks like this person is actually no longer with Holland & Knight. Well, so at any rate, poor example for our illustration here, but you can see what to do. Look them up, first name, last name, and then the name of the firm. And if they're still there, it's the first one that will come up. Let's see if this is him. Retired gentleman at large, partner Holland & Knight. Yeah, actually, that would be him. He's retired. So, at any rate, you get the point. Let's just assume, well, let's just say for illustration purposes, this is a 5th year. So you're going to want to put the information in here. Any notes that you have, go ahead and input them. And this is information that I'm going to come back over later and grab. So to send out an invite, this is very straightforward. Simply new meeting. You're going to want to make sure this is coming from your True North email address. We'll just put in my email address for illustrative purposes. The subject will be whatever you like. But something to the degree of, meeting / call with David Parnell. This is obviously, it's the email subject line, and you want something that's going to catch their eye. So here, for the body of the email, you're actually going to be using this. You can see right here, this is meeting invite email 05. Again, that is going to be in the folder here as well. So let's just copy this. Well, select all, copy, paste, and you're just going to want to put in the person's name. Just say Scott. And then this says the rest. It's basically an introduction to me and who I am and my credentials. And then you'll go ahead and hit send. Send anyway, because obviously there isn't a physical location for this. So at this point, you will be creating the candidate's research. You're going to be looking for jobs, applicable jobs for them, and doing the broader market research. So for this, you're going to be using Job Search Program version 6.0, which looks like this. And you're also going to be using the Firm Prospects Access Database, which when opened looks like this. So let's start with the Job Search Program. This is extremely simple. What you're doing here is using this information and you're transferring it over to these categories. So the title is associate. You only need one title here. For primary practices, let's look at what Jeffrey has here. So we'll put in asterisks. These are contain functions. The asterisks are contains functions. We don't want to get rid of that. But there are two different practices here. And these are the primary practices. If you remember from the cold calling database, you can see these are primary practices. So in our search, for all intents and purposes, we're always just going to be using the primary practices area. So this person has both commercial litigation and trademark copyright. The location, which is the city. It's Atlanta, Georgia. So now that the information is in there, hit generate report. So this is going to ask you how you would like to save the file name. And for this, we're going to be using the first initial last name, J-A-R-N-O-L-D, Jobs Research V1. And you're always going to want to use, this format. Just makes it simpler and easier for us to find it. So hit OK. Enter an integer value of the number of years ago associate graduated. So again, you're probably familiar with the years of experience that the associates have, but if they graduated in 2015, for instance, and this year is 2020, we subtract 2015 from 2020, that gives us 5 years. So Jeffrey is a 5th year, so we're going to go ahead and put 5 in there. Now what this is doing is asking, you can see up here, for the scores sheet. So these are the jobs files that you've run in the morning. We're keeping those files in this folder. Click on that. Okay, so I paused there for a second to let it run. And what it does is the final stretch here is to ask you to save as where you would like to save it. Obviously, it already has the name, the file name that you're going to be using. And we are going to save this right in the same folder, candidate/jobs research. Click Save. And I'm sorry, this came up off screen, but this will come up, associate uploaded. Click OK, and that means everything is done. And this is your final output. These are all the relevant jobs for J. Arnold. Now at this point, you're going to want to keep this open and not close it, because we're going to be doing some more research with the Access database, and when we're done with that, we're going to transfer the sheets in this, or from the output of the Firm Prospects database into this jobs sheet. Let me pull this back up. So this is the search program. Again, you started out here at the macro, and what it does is it runs through various filters here and ends up on add filter 3. But you don't need to be concerned about that. If you're running multiple searches for multiple people, you'll just go back to macro, start at the beginning, and do the same thing, putting in the information here. Okay, so here we are. At this point, we're going to be doing the research with the Firm Prospects candidate database. And importantly, if you haven't done so already, take these two files, the Firm Prospects and the ADB_SRC, and move them to a folder that is on your computer, but that is not in Dropbox. Importantly, if we're doing anything in Dropbox, and in particular if we're saving files to Dropbox out of this database, it won't work. For some reason there's a conflict. So you're going to want to do this on a local folder on your computer and not in Dropbox. I've already done that with mine, so we will be using this. So let's see here. Again, we're doing broader market research for Jeffrey for these two practices: commercial litigation, trademark/copyright, and of course whatever practices are in the person's record. And we're going to be doing it for this geography. So let's go ahead and reset this. You're going to want to use the 04 standard office practice. Open that. Right now we've got one complete search for a specific practice area, which is commercial litigation, except for we want to change. We want the geography to be Atlanta, Georgia. So let's paste over that, paste over that. So this is for commercial litigation. We need one for, I believe it was trademark/copyright. Let's pull him up here. Yep, trademark/copyright. So copy that. We're going to paste it over the top of commercial litigation. Oop. We just want trademark/copyright, not trademark/copyright litigation. It's important to make those distinctions like that. Make sure that the practice areas that you're searching are accurate. So now we've got commercial lit, trademark/copyright. We don't want to split the firms in the export. Always check to make sure that your programming is correct. It is. Down here, you're going to want to put a checkbox in all of these. And these will export more data. You'll see in the export a number of different sheets that give us a pretty comprehensive view of the market as it pertains to this search. So once that is done, click export. I'm going to export this into this is my local folder. Remember, we don't want to do it into Dropbox because it won't work. So let's just name this J. Arnold, first initial, last name, market research. Click Save, and you're going to see down here it's going to run these queries. See, it'll run multiple queries, and I'll go ahead and pause it till we're done. Okay, so here we are. We're finished. And you can see here is his research. So let's open it now. So here it is, and you can see that we have the various tabs with their data. So this automatically gives us the associate count, the partner count, the total attorney count, the other offices that each firm has. Baker Hostetler, for instance, these are all the offices that the firm has, and the leverage ratio of each one of the firms. So you're going to highlight all of these. So if you click on this first sheet, hold your shift button down and click on this sheet. See how it highlights all the tabs? Right click and you will see move or copy. So click on that. And what we're going to do is move this into the J. Arnold Jobs Research V1. Remember, that's the file that we used in order to find the job. So if you click on that and click OK, what this has done here is moved all of these sheets over to the jobs research file, which is pretty cool. So active jobs, you want to click and drag that down. You want that to be the first one. Right click on it, turn the tab color to a green so it makes it a little bit more visible. Save that and then close that out. So at this point, that research is done. So here we are, we're back in the candidate/jobs research. This is the shared folder on True North. Just click on this and open it up. Here it is. You see it has all of the research. This is done and it's ready to go. Don't worry about location, for instance. That software is set up in a way to give us all of these locations. I will pick it up from here and do any winnowing or cleanup on this that is necessary. Okay, so that's it from a research standpoint.